What is going on, Clippers fans? Welcome to Season 3, Episode 51. Starting this one off with a way different vibe than the last time you saw all three of us together. I am Chuck Mockler, joined by Adam Oslin and William Updike. Thank you for coming and hanging out with Clips and Dip. If you're listening, thank you. If you want to watch, you can find us at youtube.com/@ClippersPodcast. Today, we are going to be talking about whatever the hell happened last night against the Pistons. We're doing a little bit of a weekend preview, and then maybe some just ethereal discussions about what might happen later in the NBA season. Adam, Will, how the hell are you guys doing after the first 50-point game at Intuit, courtesy of Jimothy Harden? Adam, we'll start with you.
It was pretty cool. That was historic. That was a great crowd last night.
All
Aside
200
from,
people in attendance or whatever.
it might have been. I don't know what the attendance said, but it felt full. I don't know if it was because Obama.
This was just the discourse online. I wasn't there, so I mean, I'm positive there were more than 200 people.
Yeah, it was pretty full. It was as full as I had seen it all season long, and it was loud, and it was a good time.
The funny, Barack Obama was there. The funniest, after James Harden dunked and he did his nosebleed situation or his nosebleed celebration, you could see Ballmer. He turned to Obama and he went, "What is going on?" And Obama went, "I think Obama didn't understand the celebration," which was very funny. It was like two of the very powerful people not understanding the nuance of James Harden. Will, how are you feeling after the game? What a turnaround from what the vibes were online minutes before that game started.
Yeah, I mean, they really needed that one. It looked like they were in a skid that didn't have like a real clear end in sight. And they were able to turn around on the second night of a back-to-back. And James Harden just indispensable for this team. He continues to do it again and again. This is what his fourth game over 40 points this season. 50 is huge, man. I don't know when that's going to be topped and Intuit. That's like, it's, I'm glad people are appreciating because it is pretty historic. Like it's, and I know it's just a Wednesday night game against the Pistons, but it is pretty crazy, and it is wild to watch a player at this stage of his career continue to produce on a consistent level like this. I just think a lot of people wouldn't have pegged this for Harden even a couple of years ago,
especially the second night of a back-to-back.
Yeah.
38 minutes. I was thinking about today. I was like, the next person who's probably going to score 50 at Intuit is James Harden. Like, I can't think of another person on the team who could maybe do it.
Yeah, they don't play the Lakers again, so I don't have to worry about Luka. Luka's taking the record. What's interesting is, so he made 14 shots his 3 games leading up to that game, the 2 against the Lakers, the game against Phoenix. He makes 14 shots in that one game against the Pistons, and he was 14 for 50 the last 3 games heading into that game, and he gets 50 points last night.
Got the numerology flying to start this episode.
He's been laying up stinkers against the Lakers too, which we can talk about later. But yeah.
So, Will, you mentioned this, so this was kind of the topic. Last night was insane. Harden went for 50. Bogey and Zoo combined for 45. Those three scored over 75% of the Clippers' points.
Bogey back?
I don't know about that. I hope so.
Hey, Bogey is shooting 47% from 3 his last 5 games.
What's the per game split on those?
The
kind of peaks and valleys would be my guess.
The same way it is for everybody else on average. Is kind of how it works.
All right. I don't know if I'm ready to say Bogey's back, but he looked great. Zoo, shockingly, 20 field goal attempts for the first time this season. Adam, I'm sure you knew this stat before even looking at the breakdown. The Clippers are 9-2 when he gets more than 15 field goal attempts this year.
It should be 10-1 because of the damn Phoenix game.
I mean, that's entirely fair. Well, you mentioned this is the Clippers were in a skid. Does this game right the ship? No pun intended. What does this game mean for the rest of the Clippers season? Was it just a blip? I'm trying to. I
I don't think it's
very
a blip.
excited.
I don't think it's a blip, and like I got to contextualize here too, because I feel like us both covering the team, I feel like us as fans, we felt way different heading into the All-Star break. Like they went in, it looked like they were going to go out with a whimper. They went out on a 3-game win streak, 3-game or 4-game, at least 3-game win streak. They came out of the break looking a little flaccid, like not looking not looking up to the challenge. I don't know. I was gonna say something else. I don't know.
They limped out of the All-Star break.
Yeah, that's not what he said.
It doesn't have to be. It's just a word in general. It doesn't have to be related to.
These are just words.
These are just words.
Major shrinkage after the All-Star break.
Yeah, go off, King. Oh my.
So yeah, it changed things dramatically, and I do think, yeah, maybe they had to knock off some rust. We have seen this team not look great after extended rests throughout the 2-1-3 tenure. It is a game of rhythm and runs. So I do think that there is something to be said to that. And yeah, it's not like they weren't in the last one either. That was a heartbreaker to drop. And we've seen them, sort of just piss away leads time and time again. But this was definitely a step in the right direction, and I'm hoping that this gets them back into that sort of that mentality defensively, and just that ability to sort of dig deep to pull out some of these games.
Yeah, Adam, how are you? We got a lot of questions last night specifically. Was something born on March 5th at Intuit Dome?
Ask Nico Batum, man. He started it. I hope. I think there's something meaningful to them being able to close out that game that was a tight contest late, because when they lost 6 of 7, 5 of those 6 losses were within 5 points. They were right there in all those games. There were so many winnable games.
Are so close. It was 6 points we talked about it.
And they've blown so many leads. I think they've blown 11 games this season where they led by 10 or more. 10
isn't that much. I feel
10 isn't crazy, but I think 3 20-point games that they have lost this season.
Yeah, that's a little worse.
Give it up by.
Okay, 20.
Yeah, 2 to Phoenix and 1 to Indiana. So to see them be in a real battle late, and by the way, that does speak to how good James Harden was. This wasn't some 50 ball in a game that they had secured where he's just pouring it on late. They needed all of those buckets, the 14 he had in the fourth quarter. But to hold on after what happened against Phoenix the night before and not break against a good Pistons team, I know it's hard to wrap our heads around it, but they are. They had won 10 of 11. I hope that is the big takeaway, that they can figure out how to close games again.
Yeah, the closing game, it's nice that, Will, you kind of talked about how they've looked a little rough with more rest. I like that they have one day off and then they play tomorrow. I like that this is fresh in their minds. Harden's got to be feeling good. People didn't want him to play yesterday. I'm not going to pretend like I didn't think about maybe he should sit. But thankfully it went the good way. But I like that they have one day. They can look at what they did right. Bogey can still feel good heading into the game. I hope something does kind of shift out of this. Will, you looked like you wanted to interject.
The only problem I'd say is it's not a problem. I hope it's not a problem, but it's a new configuration of guys that are going to be playing on Friday. You find a way to win that one game, and now you got to figure out how to win with different guys out there and different dynamics. And look, the offensive rating on and off splits with Kawhi have been good. They're better with him in every way possible. They just got to put it together and play with a little bit more chemistry out there in the biggest moments and just share the rock, because they've had so many good quarters during this losing streak. We're like, damn, they look great, and they can't hold it together. They can't consistently play like that. The second quarter against Phoenix, I thought, was really special with the ball movement and everything going on there. With James, without James, it worked. So can they do it for 48 minutes? Can they be more consistent out there?
I like what you said about kind of like it's a new crew coming in on Friday against the Knicks, which we'll talk about in the next segment. But the only people on the injury report are Ben Simmons and Norm Powell. So Kawhi's good to go. Derrick Jones Jr. is good to go. Dunn will be in the starting lineup again. We can only assume he was great defensively against the Pistons. Just another.
What is there a timeline? Is there a
masterclass.
timeline on Simmons yet?
Day to day. So it was weird. Ty Lue said yesterday that him and Derrick Jones Jr. were day to day, and he didn't know when they'd be back. But Derrick Jones Jr. was doing an on-court workout yesterday, so that makes some more sense.
Forgot
there's no like. Yeah, that does suck. Shout out Dime, who got to meet Derrick Jones Jr. with the bobblehead, which was cool.
Everyone who wore his jersey could do a meet and greet afterwards. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff the marketing team needs to keep doing. That's cool shit. But Ben Simmons, like, I don't think there's any, like, he hasn't been doing on-court stuff, right?
Not that I've heard. That's a loss too.
Oh,
really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, obviously there's a lot of factors going on here, but you know, it is a downgrade from Simmons to Eubanks there.
If you look at that bleeping, I'm not putting it all on Eubanks for what happened against Phoenix, but
he got shredded a couple times.
Avicii was a plus 22. He played 37 minutes. So they lost by 2. In the 11 minutes he's off the floor, they got outscored by 24 points. That's wild.
I mean, you look at the game from last night. Eubanks, Kobe Brown, and Jordan Miller were the only minuses.
I honestly didn't think
they were double
Kobe
digit
and Jordan
minuses.
were that bad. Like they had a couple of putbacks each. They weren't that loud with their performances, but I didn't see horrible play.
Jordan Miller fouls so much. And I think, look, if you've been listening to this pod, you know that I set up shop on Kobe Brown Island. Real estate's getting short, and not for the good reason.
You said it's smoke signals, or
yeah, I don't know.
Are you buying up additional property so that way your per share loss is lower?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I own a lot on Kobe Brown Island. I'm sunk. I'm in the sunk cost fallacy, and I'm sinking further. I'm trying to start a new fallacy, I guess. Yeah, so they're gonna have almost the full starting lineup back, except for Norm. We gotta hope Kawhi's gonna do his thing again. We'll talk about it more in detail in the next segment. This really helped the standings, though. We needed a win for the vibes. The Clippers are sitting in 8th. We're 1 game out of 6th. We have the tiebreaker over the Warriors, which is huge. We are, however, 1.5 games out of 10th place. So I think at this point, if nothing is, created out of this, what can be, I think, taken from this game in the grand scheme of things, hopefully, Bogey stays hot, or relatively hot, because I don't think he'll shoot, 50% from 3. That would be great, but I don't think that will happen continuously. Maybe this gets them to give Zoo the ball more when there needs to be easier buckets. Like, you look at the field goal attempts, no one had double-digit field goal attempts except for Bogey, Zoo, and Harden. Obviously, that gets redistributed when Kawhi and Derrick Jones Jr. are there, but it was nice to see some more emphasis on Zoo getting the ball. That's kind of all I'm hoping for from this game.
He's getting 9 shots tomorrow,
which I guess is a lot.
What?
Who? Yeah, but he'll score 18,
what
right?
do we think they need to do to take care of business and secure a playoff spot? Is that 13-7? Do you think that gets it done? Is that good enough?
Playoffs, like a 6 spot?
Yeah.
Yeah, like 6 spot?
If they beat Golden State, it might. But the Warriors have been so damn hot, and they have an easier schedule.
So 13-7, you don't think gets it done?
I don't think it's a guarantee.
I think it gives them a chance. I think it gives us if you look at the schedule,
what do you project that they do better? That they can do better than 13-7 over these last 20 games?
I can't, in good faith, project that.
13-7 seems attainable to me. I don't even know that I could.
Attainable.
I don't even know that I could get to 14-6. To be perfectly honest.
we have consistency. Stop me if you've heard this one before in the 2-1-3 era. Consistency is not this team's thing when it comes to who's available, when it comes to play level or whatever focus, whatever adjective you want to use for that. So I can't. It's doable, but it's not like I have a body of work this season to point back and say, remember when they were playing like this? That's what they need to do at 13-7. If Harden scores 50 every other game, hell yeah, 13-7. But Kawhi's going to miss some games.
They got 4 more back-to-backs.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Really?
So
So yeah, at best, Kawhi's playing 16 games. The consistency thing, though, or the inconsistency.
And Norm is out until at least the Hornets game on the 16th in 10 days.
Yeah, and he's probably not coming back for that game since it's reevaluation. It's like
right. They reevaluate and they go, whoa, what?
He's going to be on minutes restriction. Like that is just real tough blow for him to come back and play 9 minutes after we've been waiting for him is insane. I will say the inconsistency issue kind of cuts both ways.
Yeah.
Because it can't be consistently bad for as long either, right?
Okay.
They could snap out of it.
I think one of the ways that can help them snap out of it, kind of to your point, Will, if they do want to get to 13-7, is feeding off the defense that Chris Dunn has continued to play, even when things are bad. Even when the Clippers have been bad, the defense and the effort that Chris Dunn has showed, I think, permeates the locker room. We've talked about how he's kind of one of those guys who's maybe a leader by example, just specifically on the defensive end for this team. So, like, if they can buy into that, once Kawhi starts stepping it up more with defensive responsibilities, which hopefully happens on Friday, I think that, like, there's a couple things that have to coalesce, but they're not too far-fetched, right? Like, this team is built on defense. So if that gets back to where it was.
Yeah, it feels like a little bit of shaky grounding right now just because of how we've seen them and how hot and cold it's been, and obviously injuries piling up. But there are some things that suggest they are trending in the right direction. Obviously Harden, still like snapping back into it, being able to do this. I mean, the last time we saw Kawhi looked really, really good. Didn't ultimately result in a win, but, there's some things trending in the right direction.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you guys believe they are 18th defensively their last 15 games? This is a long stretch. This goes further back than just post All-Star break. I think some of it, I think a lot of it is remedied by just, can you all cool off from 3 against us for a little bit? I think that's a huge slice of the pie of what's going on. And last night it did happen in their favor.
Yeah.
The Detroit Pistons shot 31% from 3.
Yeah. What is the opponent 3-point percentage in those 15 games?
Let me check here.
Because if we're talking about
if you were to filter out some of those absurd games,
it was like
if you readjust them to the mean, it's not.
It's been like 39% for a while. So yeah, it's 39.2%. That's insane.
Yeah.
That is unsustainable. I don't care if you're leading, and they're not.
Is that the worst in the league?
Yeah, it's 30th.
Gotta be.
I've checked. Yeah. It's not like they're advanced. The analytics say that they're leaving guys open more, or that there are way more open shots being taken from 3. That's not it.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine that, because like when you're watching the game, it's not like these shots are wide open. I mean, of course they let a few slip, whatever. They sometimes will concede a shot to the weakest player on the floor, but to the eye test, it's not like they're just letting teams chuck them up.
Yeah.
Well, and look at last night. Dennis Schroeder, 5 of 9. Dalton Connect had that crazy game against us. Like, you're getting, I think it's 2-1-3 hoops. I can't remember what it's called, but I think it's like shitty 3-point shooter versus the Clippers club. And they have such a long thread of guys who were just like, oh, he's 75% tonight from 3. Sure, why not? Like, it's happened a lot. Not a total excuse, but you're right, Will. The defense doesn't, if you're an eye test person, the defense does not look broken in any way.
Even look at a lot of the points per game against the Clippers as of late. The Lakers didn't put up much against them.
PPG.
Their defense was good enough.
It was like 108.
we're talking about 108 points, 106 points. They lost to Detroit, 106 points. Like, I don't know.
It's clear what the
So
problem
this does
is.
point to the problem. The other side of the ball. Yeah, this points to the other side of the ball being the issue. But again, if Bogey cannot be statistically one of the worst catch and shoot 3-point shooters, things are a lot easier.
He's at 34% now.
Chris,
like, that's all it takes, a few games.
Nearly league average.
Nearly
he
league
hit two
average.
big threes in back-to-back possessions in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And he hit a turnaround fadeaway. Like, his mid-game was awesome yesterday.
He did a lot yesterday. He had a block. He clocked a steal, boards, assist. Like, he can do a little bit.
Did we
everything.
do you think part of this had to do with some of his playing time in Atlanta, and like he is a much more consistent part of the rotation now than he was in Atlanta. So like maybe I wasn't giving him enough credit for that, like needing the time to readjust and come back into it.
You also
he's
think
very
he's old,
old.
right? No, I think the playing time is a real thing. Like, I think this is maybe a bigger conversation. I think a lot of the times people look at stats and they say, well, why isn't that just 1-for-1 at the new place? Or what, why there's a rhythm, there's getting used to a thing. I think you're right. I think that plays into part of it.
I think part of it's a low volume thing too. He hasn't played that many games this season. Like, last year he got up about 653s. This year I think he's right at about 200.
Yeah.
He's
huge difference.
And he's pointed at his head post game and said it's a mental block. Like, there's nothing physically going on there. He's not washed. He looks fine. He just needs, I think those two in the fourth quarter, hopefully there's a carryover effect then, because those were really clutch shots. Maybe that gets him out of this.
Yeah.
Not washed, looks fine, I hope is what they put on my tombstone, because that's a pretty solid. Yeah, I like what you said, like, not the whole game. Obviously, the whole game was successful, but having that confidence from the two meaningful shots in the fourth, it's like, yes, like, you can do this in moments that matter too. Not that it doesn't matter earlier, but you guys know what I'm saying.
Big shot,
like,
Bogey.
when it really is kind of crunch time.
He's been a clutch player in the league. Like, that's part of his rep. So, yeah. Get through it. Mental block.
Get through it. Mental block. Anything else to say about this? The new baby in the Clippers locker room after something was born from this game against the Pistons. They were upset about the refereeing, but I don't know what to tell you.
I do think the Clippers got a good whistle last night, and that was rare.
Yeah, and I was gonna say we'll take it.
Oh yeah, I thought that was a little excessive post game from the Pistons, being like, oh well, James got handed 20 points, and then
we had 7 more.
I know, like the disparity wasn't even that insane. I don't know.
We did,
and anytime a guy is getting to 50 in this league, the way he's getting to the line 20 times.
Zoo had no free throws, so how about that? I'm sure there was a couple possessions where Isaiah Stewart was fouling him.
It was just wild that it came from multiple members, I thought, in the post-game interviews from the Pistons.
Yeah, I mean, it would be frustrating to see the same guy, but like it's only 7 more. They must have not watched the recent Clippers games. Did they not watch Clippers games to see how bad the reffing is?
They just, everybody's had their turn in a game where Harden has 15 plus free throws against you, and it feels like
the Clippers have.
They faced this too when he was with Houston plenty. So it can be frustrating, but watch the tape, guys. It wasn't that bad. But I feel for him because we're going to be doing this soon. Imagine if we can have the Lakers in a 7-game series. It's going to be like 2002 again for me. It's going to be hell.
Oh no, you're gonna be breaking out the Dick Bavetta jersey. Oh man, I don't hope you have to, but if it does come to that, I'm very excited. For the listeners who don't know, you are in for a surprise if that happens. All right, coming up, we're gonna be talking the Clippers weekend preview. They got a game versus the Knicks tomorrow night, and then they have a massive game standings wise against the Kings on Sunday. If you're listening to us on audio, thank you. Leave a review on iTunes if you like us. If you don't like us, maybe put 5 stars, but you can still list whatever you want to list in the text. We have a quick audio break, which you will not experience if you're subscribed to us on youtube.com/@ClippersPodcast. Quick audio break, and then Clippers versus Knicks talk.
All right, welcome back into Clips and Dip. We just finished up talking a big win, but the Clippers aren't done yet. They've got 2 games coming up this weekend, starting with one against the Knicks, followed by a little Pac-Div rival in the Kings.
Hell yeah, the Pac-Div rivalry is real. This Knicks game, like we said, Clippers are going to be without Norm and Ben Simmons. Derek Jones Jr. is back. Second night of a back-to-back for the Knicks, who are playing
Cat
the
going to be out of this
Lakers
one
tonight. Unclear. He was out for personal reasons, which Chris Broussard was talking so much crazy shit. Cat missed that game for very real personal reasons, and there's this weird narrative that he was ducking like Jimmy Butler or something like that.
The only time
Anyway,
that comes in
nice,
real is I feel like the Embiid versus Jokic thing. Like there are ones where it's happening so frequently that it's like, okay. But I feel like in a single game scenario, like what are we doing here? Like with this, I get that everyone loves the drama. This doesn't need to be the most dramatic league fucking every day.
Oh, it should not, but it is. Chris Broussard referenced Draymond Green's podcast to disparage why Karl Anthony Towns missed this game. Fantastic journalism, Chris Broussard. Anyway, this isn't a Knicks podcast, but Cat, I believe, should be playing in this one.
That's
is he
the
playing
thing.
tonight?
I think he plays tonight, is what they're saying. Now, he did just come back from a knee issue, and I was trying to see if he's played back-to-backs yet, and it looks like he has. So I would expect him to play against the Clippers tomorrow.
Okay. Do we think Derek Jones Jr. is going to be on any kind of minutes watch? Just from what Ty said yesterday of him still being day-to-day, obviously he's not on the injury report, but is he just full bore going?
I mean, looking at his rotation minutes going into the injury, would a minutes restriction even be a factor?
Right.
Yeah, that's a good
he's
point.
He's been on minutes restriction, it looks like, if you go to the game walk. He ain't getting 25 or more.
Yeah, that's a good call. Happy to have Derek Jones Jr. back. The Knicks, here's what they're not good at. They're not good at rebounding. They're bottom 10 in offensive, defensive, and total rebounds per game. They're okay rebounding percentage-wise, 11th in offensive rebound percentage, 17th in defensive rebound percentage. They're 19th in defensive rating. So the Clippers do kind of have a shot to carry some of this offensive momentum against the Knicks.
It's strange. A Tibbs team that is top 5 on offense and near bottom 10 defensively. They've had a big makeover. I still think the defense is there somewhere. They're better than this personnel-wise. But, the Clippers, they should be, especially with the second night of a back-to-back and then playing the Lakers tonight. Knicks-Lakers is always a big game. Maybe they have a letdown. Hopefully they beat the Lakers and then don't see a priority of going full board against the Clippers the next night. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at that.
Pretty cool.
That would be great for everybody involved, except the Lakers, but who cares about them? I'm looking forward to Chris Dunn in this one. The Knicks don't take a lot of threes, but they're top 10 in three-point percentage. So his perimeter defense with Derek Jones Jr., Adam, to your point, I know it's kind of the ragtag group because Norm's not there, but defensively, Derek Jones Jr. and Dunn should kind of be able to make things happen in this one.
Dunn also 2 big threes that were wide open last game, knocked them down. Those were big shots. I look forward to that.
What's Dunn shooting over the last 15 games?
Too much.
If DJ is back, I wouldn't mind seeing more of his minutes during crunch time when they are leaving Dunn wide open and electing to let him shoot those threes. I would rather
just because of the versatility. just because of the versatility of DJJ, or you think he's a significantly better 3-point shooter?
It ain't significant, but I think he's
he's better.
I think he's better. And Dunn is, I don't know. It hasn't. Maybe I'm wrong. And last night's game is the turning point. But the narrative surrounding him being left open late in games and how many opportunities he has had as of late against the Lakers to hit him, against Phoenix to hit him, and they're just not falling.
Over the last 15 games, Chris Dunn is shooting 35% from three.
Hardy. So he's like at his average.
He's higher than Bogey over the last 15 games.
That's a little shocking to me. But what is he in fourth quarters?
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can parcel it out.
Give me those parameters.
Okay, hold on. Fourth quarter, get stats. He is shooting. Hold on, I gotta scroll a little bit. Guess what he's shooting from 3 and fourth quarters over the last 15 games?
23%.
Adam, your guess.
18.
It's a round number, if that helps.
20%. 10%.
Yes.
Holy shit. How many attempts, though?
It's not a lot of attempts. It is 0.8 attempts.
Yeah, but we know what type they are. They're wide open.
Yeah, I think
that's an easy swing, though. You make 2 of those. I mean, you're turning that whole damn thing around.
Will is like, just this next one, baby. Yeah, I hope Derek Jones. Well, we're going to see both, right? Like in this scenario with Norm out in the fourth quarter, it's probably going to be both.
I think he'll probably have Bogey in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kawhi's fourth quarter minutes? We didn't really talk about this against the Phoenix game. There was some discourse about people wondering why he sat out the certain amount of minutes he did in the fourth and then came back in comparison to when his minutes versus the Lakers. Are they just going by feel per game basis with the minute? I was a little confused by it. I'm not going to lie.
I asked Law about it. It didn't seem like there was any clear understanding of why he came out for a minute and a half. Was it just – I'm trying to think. He didn't play the entire fourth quarter of the Lakers game, right? And if he had stayed in the game against Phoenix and didn't come out for that minute and a half, he would have played the entire fourth quarter. So maybe we're not doing entire quarters with Kawhi. That's the deduction here. I don't know.
Let me check about because we played him on the second. Yeah, I don't know. And again, Ty Lue has alluded to kind of, there was the game where Harden was out there for 40 minutes. He was like, oh, that was my fault. Kawhi played the full fourth versus the Lakers on the second game.
Then maybe it's just, he just played 40 minutes, so we can't do another 40-point game 48 hours later.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The minutes management's been a little wonky recently because Ty Lue talked about it. It was his fault. Harden was out there for 40 minutes in that one game, and then I don't know. I guess it'll be interesting to see tomorrow. Like if it's a close game down the stretch, like we need these wins, and if he's able to play the full fourth against the Lakers, like let's do it. If he, depending on the other 3 quarters.
Well, playing full quarters isn't like new for Kawhi.
Right.
Seeing it shifted consistently to the fourth, that would probably be advantageous for this team versus his like normal first full quarter stints in previous seasons. But yeah, I don't know. It's so hard because I just feel like there's no clear-cut answer as to what is going to aggravate the knee. There's nothing like we just. I feel like
I wish there was.
I feel like we've just gone through so many different things, and it's like not playing and a whole lot of rest doesn't seem to be that beneficial. I mean, you could definitely make a strong argument for an overuse issue last season, but it wasn't a problem, at least my understanding, until all of a sudden it was. So I think I understand the concern in terms of managing minutes, but I just feel like there's no way for you to game it. Like there's truly no way for you to game it. So if you could keep him, if you were going to have him play full quarters, I would rather it come at the end of the game than earlier.
Maybe he just thought he looked gassed because I think he started the quarter 0-4.
That's very real too.
he got a tip in off a zoo miss, I think, at the rim. That was the only shot he made. And he just thought, I'll give him a 1.5-minute breather here, and hopefully he's recharged and can knock down a jumper. I don't know.
Yeah.
No one asked. So that's all.
Well, it's time for some of the media to hold him accountable. Please don't do that. Please don't take that seriously.
If there was a statement out there, I didn't hear it.
One thing I'm kind of looking for, as we know, Brunson, one of the most efficient scorers in isolation in the league. There was some discourse over who was guarding who in that Suns game. Would be pretty cool to see Kawhi step up the defensive responsibility stuff. Not saying he's chosen not to, but this Knicks game offers an opportunity for him to guard a couple different positions of guys who can score pretty well.
Yeah, he should be up for that.
The Phoenix game, there were a few possessions down the stretch he was guarding KD. There were a few possessions he was on Booker. That was good to see. I should have put him on Gillespie, apparently.
Dude, yeah. Robert Flom had a good tweet where he was like, the Clippers coaching staff should lose sleep over this. I'm kind of on his side on that. Like, the man, like, that was crazy.
Harden got pretty cooked at the end of that game.
Yeah.
Bogey got worn out by Gillespie, at least on a possession.
Well, yeah, Bogey's defense is not what he's on the team for. Thankfully.
It was rough.
Mighty Gillespie is unstoppable.
Yeah. Oh, man, that was
Gillespie game. Yeah. I'll never forget.
Will, do you have any other thoughts about this Knicks team? It's kind of an up and down Knicks team.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. There's a lot of question marks, and we'll see. I wish I felt better about this team being able to pounce on an opponent on the second night of a back-to-back. I just haven't yet seen it once this season. So, yeah, that rest advantage kind of means nothing to the Clippers, which is great. Just good stuff.
Yeah, that Friday night Lakers game, that was a great opportunity. They couldn't get that one. They were on the second night of back-to-back. It's frustrating. The Knicks, I'm going to watch the game obviously later tonight, but I'm a little bit surprised that they are fourth in offense.
Yeah.
They're shooting 37% from three on the season. They're upper echelon.
Low attempts, though.
Low attempts. Yeah. But against the Clippers, they could go up.
Yeah, this will be the first game where a team makes 33s in a game. That's what'll probably happen. Then the Clippers get the Kings on Sunday, which is a monumental game for the standings. The Kings are a half game behind the Clippers. The Clippers are 2-0 versus the Kings this season, but they have one more game after this one, which is the second to last game of the season, which could be one of the more stressful games of the year, depending how things are going. How are we feeling about this Kings team? It's kind of new look after their pretty lateral move that they made. Like, I don't know, Will, how are you feeling about the team from the Big Tomato?
Yeah, I mean, it is a different look, which I guess is a little bit more concerning. I'm always on notice about the Kings, regardless of our head-to-head record against them. But I feel good about this one, and I would love to see a Western Conference win.
Well, not just a Western Conference win.
Feels like it's been weeks.
A division win.
I mean, a division win, that's worth 5.
Oh, yeah, where's the point system?
We're already NBA... we win against the Kings. That's by 13-7, baby.
Adam, how are you feeling about this game? The Kings are 11th in net rating since the Levine trade. They're 8th in three-point percentage. They turn the ball over a lot. It's kind of, you never know what you're going to get because they're kind of an average team. So, maybe they'll be above average, maybe they'll be below average. I don't know.
Yeah, they have enough talent where they're capable to put them up with Zach LaVine now. And he had a 40-point game, I think, already for them. He always scares me. He's had some big games against the Clippers specifically. This is a team that is fighting for something now. It looked like at first they might fall apart after the trade deadline, and it was looking really bleak. And Doug Christie, interim coach, rallied the troops a little bit, and they've been playing better defensively, which is typically their issue out there. So they're talented enough. Sabonis, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Keegan Murray, that they can it's not shocking to me that they've been able to stay afloat even without De'Aaron Fox. I felt like they're not going to be that much worse after this trade, honestly.
Yeah.
Don't have to worry about them having a crazy outlier 3-point shooting night.
Very true.
They just don't take enough attempts. I feel like you're good.
They're a wild card. I don't know what's going to happen in this game. The Clippers are kind of a wild card too right now, right? There's going to be no Norm, probably no Ben Simmons is my guess. Like this is going to be a weird one. It's either going to be
When are we getting a timeline on this? I'm tired of this.
Brother. When are we getting a timeline? Come on. We just got one for Norm. Well, like we can only
assignments are due.
I am the crab pulling you down from getting to the top of the bucket right now. All right. Anything else on this Kings game before we pick our player of the weekend picks, which again has to be someone who plays well over both games?
They should win it after beating the Knicks on Friday and make this 3-game homestand special. Because you win it, you have the tiebreaker against them head-to-head. You're feeling a little bit about your place in the West.
Yeah.
And just to keep some momentum going. And, yeah, they need a victory against not just a Pac-Div team, anybody in the West right now.
Are we still below 500 in conference play?
Probably.
We might be at 500. 20-21. I was wrong. Damn it. Yes. Hey, let's get to 500 in conference play. That would feel great. I like what you said. This game is huge for the tiebreaker. Let's just get this, make that second to last game not as big a deal for them. Will, your pick for the Kawhi Leonard, can't pick Norm Powell because he's not playing, James Harden, Ivica Zubac's player of the weekend, who has to play good over.
Before when he wasn't playing, he just didn't know it yet.
Yeah, that's true. They have to play good over both of these games. Who are you picking?
I'm going to go DJJ. I hope that he has a nice return. It'd be good to see him knock down some of those threes that, as Adam put, you feel slightly less worried than when Chris Dunn is taking them wide open, especially in that fourth quarter, apparently. And we've said this numerous times, but I like the athleticism. I like the look of this starting unit with DJJ in there. I doubt that he'll be back in the starting lineup, maybe for the Knicks, depending on what they want to do there.
No, though.
Yeah, that's
I guess
true.
Yeah, Bogey.
No, they'll go DJJ, I would imagine. So the guy just had a bobblehead. Let's have a couple of nights, string together a couple of nights.
Adam, your pick for player of the weekend.
I'm going with the fourth quarter 3-point marksman that I too believe in Chris Dunn. I'm going with him.
Damn. Okay. I mean, the defense will be needed. Yeah.
Hey. He just went 2 for 2 against the Pistons late in the game, or at least in the second half. Build off that. We're going to be all right. And I love Chris Dunn. Regardless, you never feel that bad. It's not Russell Westbrook. It's not the same thing just because they could play off of him, because his defense is so insane on the other end that I still feel like he's a net positive out there, even when they're leaving him wide open.
All right. I thank you for not saying it. I'm doing the biggest wild card. Bogey. Bogey's going to have 2 good games in a row.
Wow. He just did.
It's true.
Okay. 4. I'm up in that to 4.
Bring it to 4.
He's going to shoot. He's going to shoot well. He's going to put it on the floor, maybe run a little small pick and roll. Who knows? I think Bogey's going to be key if the Clippers want to win both of these games. I think they'll probably split, but I think Bogey's going to play good. And here's the Kawhi playing some good isolation defense. Big weekend coming up.
I feel like they're going to get both. I probably shouldn't. I'm probably just riding the high off of last night.
It feels far more attainable than I guess, any stretch since coming out of the All-Star break. Yeah, which, to be fair, not the easiest stretch of games either.
Yeah.
Not wrong.
It wasn't.
Yeah, I said you were wrong.
They just had an 8-game road trip. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot. Anything else in the Clippers sphere before we wrap this thing up? No? All right, there we go. Thank you for hanging out. We're probably going to be doing some post-game stuff on Sunday for sure. Check out Adam on Clippers Talk after and during the game tomorrow versus the Knicks. I'm going to be on a Knicks podcast tomorrow, which should be a good time with Andrew Claudio. Will, where can listeners tell anyone who wants to hear it where they can listen to this podcast?
Oh, yeah, you can listen to this podcast wherever you get podcasts. If you happen to listen over on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, go ahead, leave a little rating and review. It helps us out. The best way to consume this podcast is over on youtube.com/@ClippersPodcast. But hey, however you watch, however you listen, we appreciate you.
We very much do. Adam, one positive thing to send these Clippers off on their weekend.
We all thought James Harden was tuckered out. He was fully fatigued. There was no way he'd have a performance like that on a back-to-back. I guess he's still got plenty left in the tank here, guys. So we're going to need him, especially with 4 back-to-backs still. We don't expect Kawhi to be playing in those games left in the last 20 games. So I was very encouraged to see James Harden throw it down last night at Intuit Dome on his way to 50. Pretty awesome.
There we go. Thank you so much for hanging out. Here's to a successful weekend. And as always, let's go Clips. Fireworks.